Hello and welcome to another video on California. So John High6, hey John, requested that I do a video on the electrics of the van, because I think, to be honest, at this stage I've probably done a video on more or less everything, but people suggest videos and I'm happy to do them because I think it's interesting as well, and it helps me study the book on the van, the owner's manual. And so John's asked me, he's asked me to look at the electrics and the control systems in the van. Now, to be honest, I'm going to do this video, but it's probably someone tuning in now. If you're looking for a video of kind of the ins and outs and stuff like that of whatever, it's not that kind of video. It's not going to be a kind of technical video. I'm not technically interested in what's going on in the van. I don't care really. But what I'll do is I'll just show you the various aspects of the electrical system within the van and the control panel as well for the roof and the bed and things like that. And you may find it of use. Now, the nature of this video is what's going to happen is I'm going to read from the book and I'm going to show you around the various electrical aspects, and the video will probably end up being a little bit choppy in that. What I'll probably end up doing is I'll probably end up reading, going off in a tangent and then going back to it as well. So when I finally put the video together, I'll probably have to do a lot of cutting and editing and stuff like that. So I don't like doing that normally, because I find I like to do them in one big take. You probably, if you watched any of my videos, you know I can talk non-stop for an hour. So what I'll do is I'll try and cut down on that, and there's obviously going to be big pauses and so on as well. So look, so the thing what I'm going to cover off is the electricals, what it says in the brochure, and then what I'll do is I will, with my trusty other camera, I will go around and show you the various things within the van, and then maybe a little bit on the controls and stuff like that, because I think that's what John was interested in as well. What I would say to John is that, you know, because I get the impression that John is a very techie kind of person. If you're really, really interested, John, I think you can get this online or something like that. I mean, that's the extent of it. So let's see. So the electrics in the van, it's a bit of a mystery. It is a bit of a mystery at the start, because the fact that you can plug something in, for me, I've never had a camper van before, and the thoughts of being able to plug in something like a laptop, a toaster, even a small kettle, if you can plug these things into a vehicle, for me, is very strange. It's a very strange concept, and I had to kind of get my head around it as to kind of what's going on. Also, the limitations to the batteries and what goes on as well. Actually, that's just reminded me. I'll probably have to do a little bit on the battery. So let's, generally speaking, what I'll do is I'll give you a whistle-stop tour before I jump into the book. And it seems to be page 161 in the owner's manual for the T6. So what's the gist of it? The gist of the electrics, from my understanding, is that you have everything's powered off the leisure batteries within the van. So you have the engine battery for obviously the engine, and then you have the front panel of the van is powered by the engine battery, right? So you have to be careful up there. That's why the radio and all that cuts out, because you'll kill your battery. Then I think the rest of the electrics from the driver's seats back, I think everything else is powered by the leisure batteries. And I think when I was reading in the early days, you're supposed to maintain them and take them out and this, that, and the other. And we haven't done any of those kind of things so far. They probably will have to be replaced at some stage. But I think this is one of these things where I'll probably talk to the VW guy and they'll probably check it or something like that, I'm assuming. Because, to be honest, if you were to ask me now where are the batteries, I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you. And I know they are supposed to take them out and service them and things like that. But anyway, I digress. So you have the plug at the back of the van, right? So you have that plug back here. And that's obviously when you're on mains, you plug it in. And so when you park somewhere in a campsite, we will always ask to have a power thing. You pay a little bit extra. It's usually, you know, a couple of quid or a quid extra a night or something like that. You wouldn't notice it, but it's worth doing, because it means, you know, you're not kind of, I can fully relax then knowing that I'm not kind of running down the batteries. Now, saying that, we have camped off power without being plugged in, and we've never had any issues there either and stuff like that. Now, obviously they're brand spanking new batteries, so, and they're not really worked to death. So there's never an issue. So you plug that in. We have a big long cable that you plug in. It can be a bit fiddly. The key thing to remember is to close the flap on the electrical thing, right? So when we've driven away a few times, we've unplugged and we wrap up the whole cable, and then I'm driving along, and I look down the mirror down the side, and I can see the flapping away as well. So the key thing is to make sure that that's shut. Then when in the wardrobe in the back there, you have the, I suppose, fuses or trip switches is what you have in there, and there's 2 of them in there, and I don't know why there's 2. I'll have a look. There must be separate circuits or something like that. I'll have a look. The book will probably explain it to me. So the red, I think red means they're on. No, green is safe and red is dangerous, I suppose. So whatever. Again, I'll have to look at this. And sometimes when you plug in the van, you can check in the panel up above. You can see that you're on power. There's a little plugged in visual that comes up, and if that doesn't come up, chances are that those trip switches have tripped for some reason. Now, the reason they trip, it's never anything. We never overload them or anything like that. But I think what can happen is that when you unplug the power connection, if you're plugged in somewhere, I think that might cause them to trip. Or else they just get knocked. They're in the wardrobe in the back, so maybe they get knocked. I don't know, but it's rare. Usually it doesn't happen. Anyway, I'm going on a bit. Then obviously, you have the power coming up, and you have the various sockets here, and you have various lighter sockets dotted around the van and stuff like that, which are all really, really handy. There's a load of them. And then in the roof, you have USB. Are they? Yeah, they're USB. No, they're lighter sockets again, I think, and you can just plug in your USB thing as well. So they're up the front of the van. So I'll show you those things anyway. Okay, so let's see what does the book say. Yada yada yada. With ignitions pressed on. No, that's cigarette lighter. I'm not interested. Electrical sockets. Sockets in the vehicle. Electrical equipment can be connected to the sockets in the vehicle. Yada yada yada. Nothing in there. Improper use of sockets. Electric can cause a fire. Okay. In order to prevent damage to electrical system, never connect equipment that generates electricity, such as solar panels or battery chargers, for charging the vehicle battery. Okay, so don't be trying to send power back into the van through them. Okay, that makes sense, but I suppose they have to spell this stuff out. In order to avoid damage due to electrical fluctuations, always switch any electrical consumers connected to the 12 volts sockets off before switching the engine on and off. When the start-stop system automatically switches off, it's not necessary. Okay, so basically what they're saying is unplug everything before you switch on or off the van. Okay, I wouldn't have thought of that, to be honest. Functional problems may occur with some devices when they are connected to the 230 volt socket due to lower output wattage. Okay, grand. So let's have a look here. There are 2 separate power circuits in the vehicle depending on the equipment. 12 volt DC current and 230 volt AC current. Okay, so that explains the 2 trip switches at the back. Okay, so we have 12 volt direct current and 230 volt AC current. Fair enough. The 12 volt maximum wattage 120 watts. The 230 volt 2500 watts. Alright, okay. So 2.5 kilowatts. I didn't realise it was that high. Now we have a toaster. We use a toaster in the van. To be honest, we always forget we have it, but we do have a toaster in the van. We don't use a kettle. We usually boil kettle on the gas, or we usually boil a kettle outside. Those, from my understanding, is the kettles that plug into the vans are pants. So 12 volt sockets. Electrical equipment can be connected to the 12 volt. Yeah, okay. Okay. Where are they? In the dash panel, in the stowage compartment, on the dash panel, under a small cover. In the stowage compartment, in the dash panel, in the side trims. Okay, so they're dotted all over the place. The 230 volt grounded safety socket. The 230 volt grounded safety socket is supplied via electrical feed from the external socket. Right, okay. Okay, so what they're saying is you can draw power to 2.5 kilowatts when you're plugged in from the outside. Okay, I was getting confused there. The following, but no more than 2.5, because obviously more than 2.5 kilowatts could cook the inside of the van's wiring. Okay. The following electrical consumers are supplied from the 230 volt supply via external socket. Battery charger, so that when you're plugged in, you charge the batteries. Depending on the vehicle equipment, the 230 volt grounded safety socket is located in the side trim panel beside the left front seat or on. Okay, so it's just down there. Fair enough. 230 volt. Okay, so the 230 volt Euro socket. So this is this 230 volt Euro socket is the socket that you can charge laptops off and stuff. So you can plug regular things in, but it delivers a lot less power. So hence you could power a laptop, but I don't think you could power a kettle off it. So what I would do is I would charge a laptop, might charge the drone batteries and things like that off it. The 230 volt socket is supplied via additional batteries or via an inverter and is located in the side trim panel. Okay, we'll go to the high voltage in the electrical system. That seems to be that. Let's see what it says about batteries. Power supply in the vehicle, page 230. Okay, so this is interesting, right? So the 12 volt DC circuit, power is supplied as standard from the additional batteries under the left front seat and in the wardrobe to the, okay. So what is the power? Interior lights, 12 volt sockets, 230 volt Euro socket, central control box, refrigerator box, pump for fresh water, auxiliary heater. Okay, so the 12 volt battery system powers all them. 230 volt grounded safety socket. So that's when we're plugged in on the outside. So that charges the batteries and also gives us power inside. Okie dokie. 230 volt Euro socket. Do not plug in any heavy devices. Alright, okay. 12 volt sockets. Okay, so this is interesting. Compatible devices on the Euro socket. Maximum power rating is 150 watts. Do not exceed the maximum power rating. So 150 watts. So again, laptop, probably a very, like a laptop and charging the drone and things like that. Battery charger. The battery charger is located in the rear left stowage compartment in the California coast and ocean. The rear left stowage department. Rear left. So alright, okay, so it's in the wardrobe in the California. The battery charger is fully automatic. If the 230 volt power supply is if the 230 volt power supply is provided, the charge level of the additional batteries under the left front seat and the living area is retained. When the vehicle is in motion, both the vehicle battery, starter battery, and additional batteries are charged by the engine alternator. The battery will become depleted if electrical consumers such as auxiliary heater, refrigerator box, and interior lights are used while the vehicle is stationary for long periods without recharging. If the battery voltage falls below 11.5 volts, the auxiliary heater cannot be switched on. Okay, alright, okay. So, what's interesting is, so obviously the fridge is off the battery and the auxiliary heater is powered by the battery as well. Which makes sense now that I think about it. I always assumed the lights and everything were powered by it, but I forgot about the auxiliary heater. So clearly, if you're parked somewhere for 2 or 3 days with not plugged in and you're running the heater, and we actually when we first got the van, we didn't really use the heater a whole lot, but I find I use it a lot. Like, we're constantly turning it on. We get into the van now, and we will turn it on all the time to warm up the van. Okay, and then there's when should the additional battery be charged? Okay, when should the additional battery be charged? If the additional battery is not charged by the alternator while the vehicle is running, the additional battery must be charged every 4 weeks. And then there's bits on the fuses and so on. Bit on the supplementary heater. Okie dokie. That's enough of that. Look, I think that the main thing really is that we haven't had any kind of issues with the electrical system, touch wood, so far, which is clearly something you don't want to go wrong. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get my other camera, and when it starts working, what I will do is I'll show you the various electrical doodads. Okay, so look, from memory. Okay, from memory, there is a cigarette lighter in the boot, which is handy. So it's on either side of one of the boots over there, I think. So there's a cigarette lighter in the boot. There's one here under the seat, under the passenger seat, which is a bit awkward to get to, but I do use it. It tends to be the one. So really, what you need to do is you get one of those little adapters that you can plug into a cigarette lighter that powers your USB cables. But what I have, you can get them long ones, and you can get a little stubby one. And is it in it? No. No, thought it was in it. So you can get the little small stubby ones, and what I recommend is you get the small stubby one. The shorter you, the better, because that one is positioned underneath the seat, and it's always very awkward to get to. Other than that, it doesn't matter. Then we have the power in the front, the main cigarette lighter, and I'll show you that when I get up to the front. That's the one to be careful of, because that will pull power from your starter battery. That can kill you. That can get you in trouble. You have another one here, another USB thing here, and then I think there's either one or two up above. I think there's one, and the same thing again. So they're straightforward enough. Okay, so that's those guys, right? And depending on how I cut this video together, I'll show you those. So let's get down to here, and let's see, what do we have? Okay, so as you can see here, we have this is one of these cigarette lighter things. So what's this powering at the moment? This is the socket that powers our dash camera. So we have that running in here, and then up and over the door. And then we have a Euro. If I can get the camera in to have a look. We have one of those sockets here. So that's the socket that powers. That socket is the socket that powers. That's a 230 volt socket, is my understanding. Yeah. And then you have down here, I'll turn on the light. And then here, then you have the 230 volt. Yeah, the 230 volt Euro socket. So that's the one with that funny, weird shape. That's kind of annoying. So you can see there, 230 volt, 50 hertz, 150 watt max. Okay, so this is the main. These three plugs here will be the main plugs that I use. So what do you need for them? So what I'm doing is I'm just opening the drawer here to show you. So what do we bring with us? We bring one of these guys. So this plugs in. This is the adapter that plugs into the main 230 volt power. So the top one, the one that's here, right? So that's the main one here. So we plug that in. As you can see, it's got two plugs in it, so it's super handy. And we will then, I'll plug this in when we're on power. So when we're plugged in somewhere. And what I'll do then is we'll power. This will be the one that you would power anything that's pluggable. So like a toaster, anything really, because obviously it'll pull 230 volts and 2.5 kilowatts. So you can plug anything into it, to be honest, right? So that's super handy. And where did we get this? We got this because when we went on holidays, we have this before the van. So we had that. Then we have, what do we have? This is another one. This is just another version. This is a single one. I wonder, did this come with the van? Maybe. Probably did, actually. But sure, why would you want this when you can use two? Which is obviously you have to be careful, because with two of those things. Now, the Euro one. This is the Euro one. So you can see it fits into that mad shape. And then you plug this in. So this is the one you have to be careful of. So if we're away, if we're driving and I'm charging the drone batteries or something like that. Now you can charge the drone batteries using a USB charger, I think. But you get more power out of this one here. So that's that one that plugs in. Now, like most people, when I first clapped eyes on that, I was going, what the hell is this and how does this work? And I have one of these from, I have a tendency to kind of keep electronic bits and pieces. I don't really throw anything out. And what I did was I went rooting around in the house and I found one of these things, and I was delighted when they plugged in. But you can get them anywhere. I'd say you can get them in most travel places or something like that, So let's have a look. I'll just show you what it looks like when it's plugged in. Yeah, so this is a little bit awkward. It's going to be awkward to show you, but also awkward to do. Can I see what I'm doing? So basically, it just plugs in. Oh, there you go. So let's have a look. So now you can see it's plugged in, and it's a terrible design, you know, to be honest. So I think when it's on, there's a light. So let's unplug it. Now, the thing, there's probably a better adapter. I could probably find a better adapter. But what I find is, you can see here, they're slightly bent in. See that? That's because, I don't know. I don't understand. Like, this is obviously designed for that kind of plug, but it's bending them in slightly. It's weird, isn't it? It's a strange one. But it works. It works. We've charged it and we never have any trouble with it, so there you go. And what's actually interesting is that when I plugged it in, I can hear the inverter in the back working. Okay, so throw that in there. Now, what's next? What is next? Now, can you see me? You can. So, what I'm going to do is, turn my seat back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, okay, so what I'm going to do is, I'm going to just basically show you the control system here. Just go through it with you. Now I'll leave that camera here, and what I'll do is I'll use this other camera just to sort of show you what's going on. So excuse my turning my head to the back of you. My head to the back of you? Whatever. Right, so and then what I'll do is I'll show you what's going on here. Does this work? Yeah, very good. Okay, so starting at the front. They're all trusty. So you can see I have that's for the sat nav, and then I have that sat nav powered into here. So you can see that's one of the USB little things. So we leave that permanently plugged in. Were they saying there was another one somewhere? Be handy if there was. I don't know. So then we have the main one here. So this is the little light that came with the van, and the little doodah, and that's obviously the main cigarette adapter, and that's that. And what I've done then is I have got this guy. I've done a video on this before, but I've got this guy here, and what it is it's four cigarette lighters. So these four are powered, so the cable runs across here and into here, and the four are powered. So this just gives us additional options to charge. You know yourself, you're always power hungry. Now this is the stubby dude I was talking about. So you see, this came with an earpiece that I have for charging, but you can see how small it is. It's super handy, as opposed to this one here, which is much longer. It doesn't fit under the seat. Anything else? Any other power adapters up here? Not really. So okay, so looking at the power, so you can see there, what are we up to now? 12 volts. So 12.4 volts. So that's what you want. You don't want this going low. It means your battery's knackered. 80% charged, 0 amps coming in or 0 amps going out. And this is the battery indicator, the status of the roof, wastewater, and mains water, I suppose, the date and the time. And what have we got? So that's the fridge. So this one turns on the fridge, and you set your settings there. So when this light lights, when it's yellow like that, that's the fridge is on. So let's just turn it on there for a second and see. No, nothing's happening. This is the heater. Oops, I'll turn that off because I don't like coming on. It's very noisy. But that's the heater. So you just turn the heater on, and this is just the main controls for this. Oops. And then give it a second, and then okay. So then this is the pop-up roof, clock, setting the clock, obviously return the different types of display, the fridge, and so on. See, so this is, so, you know, it's straightforward enough. You know, there's no the thing is you leave it off, you turn it off, so you can turn it on or off. So I always leave it turned off. And then there's the camera there. You see the power is running. So look, I think is there anything else? I have a feeling I'm forgetting something. I think, look, the main thing is, there's plenty of power in the van. There's no real issues. I mean, you have the socket in the back that's really handy for charging things running out the back. You have plenty of little USB sockets all over the van, so there's never really. Now, we've had myself, Vanessa, Christian, and Jack in the van. Everyone wanting to charge stuff, but there's always loads of ports, and that little doodah there. But the problem with that one is obviously it's drawing power off the engine, so you have to be careful. The radio will switch off after half an hour so as not to kill off your battery. And what we have is a little portable speaker that we bring with us, but you could always plug something into here, you know. So my understanding is that the batteries will go with average use. So having the fridge going, you know, using the heater occasionally and charging things. My understanding is you have about 3 days. But I've heard people, I mean, we've met people saying longer. So power is not an issue. Obviously, there's all the lights and stuff like that. So, you know, the more lights you turn on, the more power you're going to use. If you're charging loads of phones and things like that as well. And if you're running the heater and running the fridge. So there's never any kind of issues. What I'd say is the Euro socket is a bit, it's now that I use it, but at first I was a bit kind of intimidated by it, to be honest. I don't know why. I just was. But now I do charge stuff off it. And it works. So it will work. It works when the van's not on. So it draws power and converts it. It inverts it through, you know. And so that means you can power your laptop and things like that when you're not plugged in. Obviously, the other main socket, you really want that one when you're plugged in. So that way you have a few more mod cons, such as the toaster. And you know, if you have a kettle and things like that too. And then there's the beauty knowing that you can turn all the lights on, turn on the heat, have the fridge going full tilt, and you're not gonna run out of power at some stage. The control panel is straightforward enough to use, but you can see I'm a little bit rusty with it myself because I did forget. You know, this is the thing, but that's me. So look, I think that's it. I hope this video was of use, and if it was, you know, just. Well, you don't have to let me know. I'm assuming it is. But what I mean is, if you have any comments or anything like that, or just anything I forgot, I always forget stuff. So I'm sure I have forgotten things. Because people might be interested in how many times could you put up the roof and how long could you run the tap for. So I don't know. These are things I don't know. You know, would anyone be interested in those? Maybe they would. I don't know. But listen, that's it. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.